rock faces around Lake Tahoe are legendary. But this fall, new ones will emerge in the Tahoe Basin. Pullman, Mowat, Gushu, and more. November 4th through 9th, the Grand Slam of Curling's first ever event in the U.S. is coming to Lake Tahoe, where the greatest rock stars on earth unite for 6 days of incredible curling, celebrity appearances, and après curl parties you won't want to miss. Get your tickets at thegrandslamofcurling.com. Let's rock.
Ste.Marie Airport Development Corporation, owner and operator of the Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario, Canada Airport, is proud to support the Sault Curlers Fall Classic and welcome all to beautiful Sault Ste. Marie. The Sault Ste. Marie Airport. Go there to get anywhere.
Hello, curling fans, and welcome to the Friday evening draw of the Henderson Medal Fall Classic, presented by Kioti Tractors of Ontario. This is the A qualifier over here between Team Retornaz and Team Epping. My name is Gord Copperthorne, and I'm joined this evening by the esteemed Sean Joyce. Sean, how are you this evening?
Apparently I'm esteemed. That's an upgrade for me.
Well, you've been around long enough to deserve a few compliments. How you doing?
I'm doing okay. I've had a very good draw as far as this event was concerned. I was on the game at the same time last night, and I'm on here again. The same as the teams. They played the quarterfinal last night, 24 hours ago. And had a very long break.
An exciting match. As stated, this is one of two A qualifiers that are going to play across the sheets and also coming to you on Curling Stadium through the Curling Zone. Feel free to watch whichever. Like it, love it, click it, subscribe it, whatever makes you happy. Hopefully make this exciting. So, over here, we've got Joel's team, which is, of course, Mattia Giovanella, Sebastiano Armand, Joel himself, and the Epping team, which is Ian McMillan, Tanner Morgan, Jake Morgan, John Epping. You can see that we have Epping and so, we got a box. We got a box of gold for the first game. Thanks. Byproduct of new rules.
Yeah, it's a byproduct of some not so just with the free guard zone. You can get some rocks start to build up. That doesn't mean they're going to stay there for long, but until you get that fifth stone at the end, there's a lot of jockeying for position in the house, and that's what we're seeing here. The first guard was thrown up. The next one went a little deep. That yellow stone at the top of the 4-foot, the second shot is actually the better stone. The freeze attempt, and now one more freeze attempt, and then because I think I would say Joel's in better spot, we might see John make a play on the guard after this one.
That no one wants to wait too terribly long early in the game.
If he had better handles in the house, it might be a different story. He might try to play aggressive, but it really
some teams like to stretch themselves out a little bit in the first. Some like to go straight at it. Teams got their plan.
I think, if I remember right, you can't see them in the view right now, but I think we're using time clocks at this event too, and that can factor in. And you don't want to get too many complicated ends too early in the game. You might find you don't have enough time for the last few ends.
That's true enough. Yeah, there you go.
There they are. You ask and you shall receive. We got to do the blocks.
So that'll be watched throughout the game, of course. And yes, every decision makes a difference. Every front end getting in and out of the pack quickly makes a big difference. So we're still sticking around with the more finesse game, which is a good, exciting first game.
Yeah, when you talk about rule changes, that's the one that's actually, to me, interesting to discuss. We've got all these rules for guards and all these things that are designed to encourage offense, but then on the other side of it, you get the time clock, which really, it wasn't necessarily that it intended for that, but it kind of ends up encouraging defense because you need to play a little bit quicker. It's hard to do that with the offensive shots. So there does need to be some balance there. I'm sure that over the next couple of seasons, there's still a tweak to that. I do like seeing the play goal shots in play. Nobody wants to see the end tough to do that with the clocks.
I don't disagree. And every player earns their extra 5 seconds on each shot. Every second matters. All right, so already looking, you might say, favorable for yellow. Outside all the greens around it. Which set you like better?
Well, I think right now the yellows have the position. That last tap was a nice one. It's got, it at least gives Epping a couple of angles in the front of the house that he can use, but there is still a chance of this jam. This is the part that for an experienced player, and hopefully it translates to more casual. These for me are the really interesting ones to watch. It's all about manipulating angles. Sooner or later, both of these teams are quite capable of playing a big weight, running something in, but before they do that, they're going to try to manipulate angles. When everything spills, their rocks are in position. It's not going to be so subtle. Like, you really want to get just to the inside. Get to the nose, good enough. A little bit more to the inside would have been better.
And to your point, here comes the smash and dash move. And further to your point, the yellows are a little bit outward of the greens, so hits will have them going out for the green staying in.
I think he killed one yellow here. I think the back is the back.
He's trying to get a ball on the dog too.
But they do have this big game in all four where he's got a bit of it, just to hold it on ice that curls a little bit harder than we've seen so far here. This event, about 3.5 to 4 feet of curl here. They're used to curling this stuff.
Not a lot of weight for moving a lot of rocks, so. Well, we were both a little wrong. The front yellow is still there, and the back yellow isn't there.
Yep, jam, but not solid enough to stay.
That makes things look a whole heck of a lot better for them, even with that little biter on the outside. So if you have hammer, I'm assuming you feel pretty good about yourself. It's not generally a good day when the team without hammer is running rocks back.
And you know, again, we talked about it last night. We'll see what the ice is like tonight, but it was a little straighter than what these teams are generally accustomed to playing on slam ice, and that makes these types of shots, as much as, you know, I was a team that when we were playing, we used to be pretty good at the hit game, and everybody thought, well, we'd like the straighter ice. We don't. Generally, when you're a good hitting team, you like ice that will curl a little more. You know you could take an inch or two of ice and it's still going to curl. Here, you're not sure. It might fall, it might run straight, so it actually makes those runbacks a little tougher when it's a little straighter. And so he didn't hit that one quite right.
So what you're saying is with a little bit of curl, you can be certain it will curl.
Yeah, and you know, everybody likes ice that curls. It really doesn't matter whether you're a hitting team or a finesse team. You want the ice that's got some curl in it. You don't want to ever have to worry about a rock maybe backing up on you.
Oh, I remember those days. How much is it going to fall back? Let's find out.
Well, and everybody's got a different theory on how you sweep a rock that falls too, and I don't know if any of them are right. Kind of like there's going to be a baseball game starting here in a few minutes that I think probably a lot of people are watching too, and it's the old theory in baseball about the knuckleball. There's two theories on how to hit a knuckleball, and neither one of them works. It's kind of the same thing with what do you do with ice that falls. There's a couple of theories on how to sweep them.
The wind doesn't blow too hard.
Yeah.
All right, well, Epping's in a really comfortable position. Ooh, a little over the top there.
Yeah, that makes it a little better for Epping. Now, where do you put the next one?
As far away from everything as you can, I imagine.
Well, you're not going to get it any farther than 6 feet away.
So where else might you put it then in the dead middle, 6 feet away? Would you use the guard or...
Where are we at? We're thirds last. It would be tempting to use the guard, wouldn't it?
That would have been my first inclination.
He's just worried to use the guard. You leave him a fairly easy double over there. It'll be a slash double. He's going to lose the shooter, but if he makes it, you're down to counting two.
Well, there isn't any obvious doubles because that green one's edge on edge with the yellow.
I think he's got an inch or two of air, but if you come around the garden, you get behind that green one, he's going to play the slash double on the green.
Sure. What I'm getting at is if this one's in the middle somewhere, you don't.
In the middle, he's got to be
double
back. He's got to be deep in the middle here, because if he's anywhere higher than that, he's going to play the double towards the open one in the 12-foot.
Well, that would be about as undoubleable as I could think you could do.
Yeah, that's a pretty good spot. Now, we're down to 4 stones left. Joel's looking at the roll. The other option here, and he's just trying to get them grouped. The other option here is you hit this right on the nose. Let Epping hit it on the nose again, and then you've got double. Angle for the
build up
double.
the angle, right.
The problem with playing the rollover, you roll over 2 feet, you get a little deeper. John rolls and hits back to center 2 feet deep, a little deeper. You're not going to have the angle.
Correct. And then do you just say oops and give up a 3, or do you try a freeze and risk a 4?
Yeah, first end, I think you got to give up the 3. But this is where I'd be tempted here to just hit this right on the nose, because Epping can't really roll behind the guard. He'd leave the slash double. He's going to have to nose it, and then you know you're going to have some angle.
I like your thinking there. So let's see what they come up with. Looking for right dead on the nose. Got the 2 towers doing all the sweeping for him, so that's never a problem. And what do we come up with? We got a little roll. Now, maybe that's not bad. You're closer to the other green.
Well, yeah, exactly. He was trying to group them. The problem is if Epping makes the roll back, which he's going to try to do, if he rolls back to the center line as he comes deeper again, it's still going to be too flat.
Correct. So at this point, Retornaz is kind of saying anything but roll back to the middle. And John saying anything but roll to the left. All right. So there you go. So this is not a lot of ice.
No, from what we saw the game yesterday, this, even with quiet weight, like he's not going to throw this hard. It is not going to move a lot with any extra weight. This might be just bumper weight.
Well, to your point, I would certainly call that no more than a gentle control. Probably sitting in the range of an 11, which is a strong board. Got 2 good sweepers that can manage the ice. It's coming across pretty hard. Perhaps fooled a little bit.
Well, and this can be the other thing that happens with 24 hours off, too, is the ice conditions may have changed just a little bit. Maybe we're getting a little bit more curl tonight.
So, Joel goes, whew, got away with that one.
He wants to really get away with it. He's looking at hitting that stone that's just peeking out. And again, it's hard to say from the hacks. He might have a little bit of daylight. If you could hit and roll in, he might be shot rock behind cover. But if you ever rub the guard, you're giving up 3.
Well, and it gets to your earlier point of is it straight or not? If you got some curl, then flopping under seems reasonable. If it's straight as a dart with board, then, well, why risk crashing? So, he's taking, call it 2 broom widths more than John, which is probably on par with trying to nose it.
Got a little more weight than John,
yeah.
too.
Yeah, that's more in the, call it 10 and a half range, I would think. Not sitting on my stopwatch, but that definitely looked a little harder than John. Coming down nice and smooth. Bang and stick. Now John's probably going to walk away going, hey, we got 2, but oh man, that was a good chance at a 3. Now, obviously, still got to make the 2, but we'd like to think that's going to be done on this open hit. He's taking the same ice, so we can assume a little bit more weight. I would roll with.
You would think likely. They did, from what I saw their game yesterday, and again, it goes back to what we were talking about with their release, they do take a little bit less ice than some of the other teams.
I was up in Beaumont last weekend at the U25 Grand Slam event, and it was very clear that some teams had a more pronounced release. So there you go. John with the nose hit, taking 2 in the first end against Retornaz. We call that success, and we'll be back in a couple of minutes.
You work the land, you just got to be a jack of all trades type. There's just too much to do. So if you got to be a welder, or a farmer, or a ditch digger, that's just who you are that day. Then tomorrow, you can be somebody else.
Hey Ben, what's the Aztec Safety online e-learning website again?
Yeah, that would be aztecsafety.com.
Fire extinguisher and firefighting, we'll send that one to Paul.
Ah, now here's a course I should probably take. Conflict resolution.
Power line safety. Yeah, I thought it might help me with my line calls. Did you know this Aztec website has over 100 safety courses?
Jeez. Aztec Safety online course. Ground disturbance. Could have used that a few seconds ago.
Live curling rocks. And this November, the best in the world are coming to Tahoe. Get your seats now at gsoctickets.com. But hurry, early bird pricing ends soon.
You mentioned it, so.
Welcome back, curling fans. This is the Henderson Medal Fall Class, presented by Coyote Tractors of Ontario. We are watching the A qualifier between Retornaz and Epping. And after one exciting end, John has jumped out to an early lead at 2-0. So, Sean, anything that you caught in that first end of interest?
Well, it's just that both teams were willing to play with rocks in play, and I was a little surprised. It worked out for him. He got a deuce. A little surprised, though, that Epping, early on in the end, when the angles weren't shaping up great for him, he never did elect to make a play on that guard. Continued to put the pressure on around, and once he got an angle that he liked, started moving rocks around, and everything worked out in his favor.
Yeah, kind of played the patient game and said, hey, I can outweight you with just one really good shot, right?
Yeah, if not for the overcurl in his first one, he ends up with 3 there.
Oh, for sure. Here's an interesting little thought process. So last end, John has hammer, and they go around the center. This end, Retornaz has hammer and decides to throw up a corner guard. Is that a team preference or a scoreboard issue?
Probably a little bit of both. You will see with a lot of these teams, and the people that are watching us all the time and hear us talk about this till they get tired of listening to it, probably. But so many of these teams now, there's a difference. We used to, you wouldn't see teams think about odd end versus even end till 6, 7, 8, But now they're thinking about it from the first end. If we can manipulate things so that we've got last rock in the even ends, that's what we want, and they're going to try to score in the even ends more often than they will in the odd ends. So here it is. Retornaz got last rock and an even end. He's going to try to score here. He's not thinking about defense early on, and he's set it up to try to score his deuce.
And here we are, 5-hole rocks in the end, and we're already having to think our way through a lot of puzzles. John debating guard versus corner freeze. Electing to have Tanner come down and just kind of chop off that side of the house under the guard, right?
Yeah, this is kind of, it goes back to that cat and mouse we talked about last end. We're going to talk about it a lot through the game, especially if both teams want to play like this. John's decision here is, do we keep putting the pressure on in the middle, knowing that Joel's got to deal with them sooner or later, or do we try to come around the corner? Now, he's not going to be happy with that result. That does not help him. If anything, it helps Joel. Joel is wondering, do we even have to go after the guard now? Can we see enough of that stone? Yeah, that's what I thought he'd be looking at. Can we make a play on that stone right now? If they had more curl, definitely could make a play on what he could see and try to roll behind the staggered corner. I don't mind this call either. You play the freeze. But that's a good example right there of when I talk about this is less ice than what you see in a lot of these events. He's only got not even 3 feet because he's not looking for a nose freeze here. He's looking for the corner.
Yeah,
and that's all the curl he's
it's
looking for.
usually broom into the 12-foot, right? And then you get that late J-hook snap, whereas this is going to be a little bit more like what we grew up on.
Yeah, this, I don't know whether that picked. I mean, I haven't seen anything move like this, but again, 24 hours difference too. Don't know whether they, I speculated yesterday whether they might stand the rocks yet. Don't know whether they did that. Don't know whether that picked. Don't know whether it wasn't a good throw. That was certainly more curl than I think anyone would have expected. And they did have a practice session beforehand, so they would know if it was drastically different from yesterday.
This is fair. So there you go, 4 rocks into the end. We were saying, hey, what a brilliant setup. Then we had 2 rocks that you can just file into the bad bucket. And now it's kind of, how do we clean up this mess? So what is John trying to do here?
I'm not entirely sure. He might be playing the yellow across the face of the green and try to run the green back into the yellow. The problem then is where's the top yellow go? And that
Not
would have
where
been
he
the
wants
reason.
it.
Yeah, I wouldn't have called that. Wouldn't have called that. Yeah.
No, that's 3 rocks in a row that aren't a good outcome.
And that's the problem with trying to hit the yellow on that side. Like I think he was trying to clip the green. He couldn't have liked the double staggered guard and have the green come back onto the yellow in the house. But there's the problem: if you miss the green, you're not missing both greens.
This is fair. He was sitting 1 in the can under almost 2 guards. Could he not have just piled on with the aggression?
He could have, yeah. You put another rock on the center line somewhere, and we're at the point where Joel would have had to try to clean things up. The angles were just... You couldn't see the one in the house as it was.
Well, choices be what they were, outcomes be what they were. This is now Joel's turn to try to sit 3.
Yeah, and he's opting to play to the open side. What he's worried about, and you can see why if you look at the overhead, that green straight back onto shot stone, there's not a lot of distance between those. And yeah, you're sitting 3 here, but you know there's a chance that John Epping is just going to play that short run back. If they make it good, they're buried shot rock in the middle.
With basically 2 guards to work with.
Could be. They could be staggered too by the time this is done. Well, probably not buried if they're staggered. But.
Now, are you looking dead nose here, or are you thinking maybe
because
a
it's
nice
your own guard you are?
Or
I think when it's your own guard, you're looking at dead nose. Just stuff it on that one in the top of the 8-foot sit shot rock, and then let Joel figure out what he's going to do with it.
I'd go with that. I would say tolerance is cross the nose a little bit and let it roll towards that other yellow catcher.
Sure.
I wouldn't feel bad if that's the outcome. That yellow rock barely stayed in the house.
Well, it did, but that's actually a good spot for it. It's harder to get I always call it the excuse me double. Like if you hit this not quite right and off the nose on the second one, like you'd have to almost miss the second one to actually catch the third one. So
the most distance you can get between 2 rocks, about 11 3/4 feet, right? So there you go. Straight back. Did make use of the other guard, but it's guarded.
Yeah, not as good as he would have liked because it does leave the chance for Joel to play the yellow one back. If he's got to play the green one back, he's got to try to double them, and then those 2 yellows, one on either side, there's still a chance of a green getting jammed somewhere.
Sure. The one positive is you still have a green center guard.
You do.
And that green one's higher than both yellows. There could be an excuse me jam.
That's really good.
That's a well-thrown rock by Amos. That's going to leave John squirming. 2 yellows, quite well buried. The other one way too deep to care about.
These are almost angled where if he hits it right, he might triple the yellows.
This certainly has the sniff and feel of multiple yellows leaving the house.
If it's not lined up for a triple, there's probably 2 options for doubles. It's close to the possibility of a triple. So he's looking to run the green into the yellow. That was just
This one's
run
going to have
back.
some heat on it, I assume.
Yeah. You look at the angle of the three yellows, it's just about 90 degrees, right? So if he catches about a quarter of the one at the top 12, the run back stone comes across, gets the one on the right side if we look at the overhead, and the first yellow is going to be awful close to that biter at the back.
Here we go. What do we got? We got 1, 2.
Touches them all.
2 yellows in the corner, and the other one's no longer behind the guard. That would be a hell of a good outcome. And you're buried. You almost couldn't have asked for a better outcome, I suppose.
No, the only way he makes it any better is if he throws it harder. That's...
That could be a unnamed broadcast turning point of the game. That was a very nice raise. So what's this? This is looking like just kind of chunk the green one out.
Yeah, he's got to get some finish because he wants to get it by the yellow one. But if he can just push it by the yellow and roll back into the open, he can at least sit 2. Boy, this is awfully thin. He's gonna. Yeah, did touch the other one. Left it biting though.
Yeah. Well, you got lots of distance between the yellows. Green's looking like
That's a little too
squeaked
much
out.
distance. Yeah, it just kept on spinning.
A quarter-inch thicker, and that was a brilliant shot. Well, we went from Retornaz drooling over a 3 to looking kind of forcey.
Yeah, this is a good example, though, of how much respect all of these teams have for each other, though. They did talk about coming around the more center guard, but it's a yellow guard. They're worried that Joel makes the run back too easy. And maybe you're still giving up 2. You hit this, and you know you're never...
But does Joel ever just ignore this and say, to heck with it, I'm going around the guard?
Oh, yeah, he does for sure all day.
Yeah.
He's got no choice, but that's why they don't want to ignore the biter.
Fair enough.
They don't want to ignore the biter and give him the chance to score 3. So,
Yeah, as we see there on the overhead, green is actually shot, but he's electing to say no yellows, no points.
if the center guard was green, I think he'd go around it. But because it's yellow and they're worried about Joel making the run back,
this is fair.
They're going to hit the biter and make sure that biter can't end up on the scoreboard.
Yet another example of John's kind of over curling. I'm assuming they intended to, I guess didn't need to stick around, but I'm assuming they wanted to.
Yeah, I would think they probably wanted to stay somewhere.
All right, well, as we were speculating, he's saying, oh, well, this thing in the back doesn't matter. Let's go around the center guard. Were you seeing more motion towards the center or away from the center?
Not that I could recall yesterday. It was a little bit straighter than, again, like I said, what most of these teams are probably used to. It's not that there wasn't curl. There wasn't the big hook at the end. So you're going to have to come tight by a guard to get it buried. And then even when you try to throw those finesse weights, there's just not a lot of big finish as a rule.
Yeah, so you're looking at your big tower sweepers to walk it over. So you're thinking, hey, everything I throw's got to be 2 or 3 feet short, right?
Yeah, but for a lot of these teams, again, that's what they're used to throwing. It's funny. I can remember playing more of a casual spiel a number of years ago, and they had just for fun, skills competition in it. And the club curlers were winning it all because draw to the button was part of it. And these guys were all used to throwing it pretty much to the button cold. And the more experienced players or the players that played on the circuit more, when you're throwing cold, because there was no sweeping in this competition. I should clarify that. There was no sweeping allowed in this competition. And we all threw everything to the 12-foot because you just train yourself, that's what you train yourself to do. You throw it to the 12-foot and let your sweepers make the rest of the shot. Nobody ever wanted to throw one to the T-line cold. Because then you take your sweepers out of it.
So what you're telling me is you should have been thinking back 12 freeze.
Those shots for these players, those shots become tough too because, again, you just don't practice it. Like when you have to throw that extra 6 feet of weight to freeze to a rock in the back, that's where you can catch some of these teams because it's not a shot they play very often. But for the most part, when they're talking about draws, they're used to throwing it, fully in a 12-foot, maybe bite the 8-foot, and let your sweepers make the rest of the shot.
Just now, raise double miss aside, one of the key things here is that yellow wasn't in play, so he wasn't afraid to play the run back. If he had not hit that yellow one, he never would have played that, I don't imagine. Because then he would have been looking at a potential 3. John's first one, he hit the yellow.
He comes
and
around.
out.
I see what you mean. Yeah.
But if he had left the yellow, he wouldn't have been able to play that run back. So just a little fascinating rationale in there. Anyways, suffice to say,
depends what he does play with the first one, though.
Yeah. So then, Joel's now got his chance for 2 to even the playing field. Sweepers are saying it's got a little bit of heater. He heard your story about not throwing it to the tee line and said, heck with that, I'm going to throw it there myself. Looking pretty good. And the sweepers walk it in. Everybody tips their hats. There's another 2 on the board. Even game. We'll be back in a couple.
Developed over a decade in collaboration with the finest ice makers this side of the Atlantic, the Pebblehead PB5 is nothing short of a triumph of sophistication and craftsmanship. Weighing less than half its lumbering copper predecessors, yet boasting tenfold their durability, the PB5 delivers perfect, consistent ice, time after time. The PB5 by Pebbleheads.com, the apex of ice-making ingenuity for the roaring game of curling.
The 2025-2026 Grand Slam of Curling schedule is out, with big events happening all over Canada, like the Masters heading to London in September, the Tour Challenge from YNCU this October, the Canadian Open from Saskatoon in December, and the Players' Championship from Steinbach coming in January. Early bird weekend and full event passes on sale now at gsocktickets.com. Let's rock!
I've got this one. So, how is that?
Wonderful. Now let's do it again.
BDO Assurance, a commitment to quality.
They published the timer rules here anywhere.
Welcome back, curling fans. This is the A qualifier between Retornaz and Epping at the Henderson Medal Fall Classic, presented by Kioti Tractors of Ontario. My name's Gord Copperthorne. With me is Sean Joyce, and we are 2 ends into a now tied match. Seen a little bit of everything, thus far quite exciting. We are coming to you live out of Sault Ste.Marie, Ontario. 3 sites of some rather exciting curling around Canada. Certainly encourage you to keep watching us here or on any of the other curling broadcasts, part of the Stadium Network. So I hope you're enjoying yourselves this weekend. Anyways, back to the action. So 2-2. What are you thinking, Sean?
Well, 2 ends decided nothing. Epping had last rock in the first end. He's got the last rock again here. And a similar setup to what started in the first, but the difference here, Epping's first stone well in front of the tee line. He's in a much better spot to start this end than he was in the first. And the first worked out pretty well for him.
And once again, John electing to just go around the center guard instead of throwing up a side. Could be team strategy, could be, as you said, odd end and not wanting to get too carried away. Both strategies have power.
He's not keyed in on necessarily playing full-out offense here. If he ends up with a blank end here, he's happy with that. He'll have manipulated things so that he's got last rock in the even ends. But I think this is the first time, Gord, you and I have had a chance to work together. I've got one of those things that I like to say, and some of the guys will laugh at me. But you have to be careful or open. Let's put it that way. You have to be open to the idea that when the other team is trying to force you, sometimes they'll force you to 3, and you have to let them do that. So if Joel wants to get too aggressive here, trying to force in this odd end to try to keep last rock in the even ends, you got to watch for those. You can't be so determined that, I want to blank this end and get last rock in the even ends, that if the other team plays too hard to try to force you, sometimes that means they got to leave some rocks in play, and that's how you see some crooked numbers go on the board once in a while.
So if I'm to paraphrase, don't be so strategy blind that you miss an opportunity. I can get on board with that.
It happens. It happens a lot. And I think this whole situation when these teams, to their credit, they're all doing it and they're all very good at it. But when they start trying to manipulate odd and even end early in the game, it leads to probably more opportunities in the odd ends that didn't used to exist, because you'll press the action a little bit longer, expecting that the other team is playing for a blank.
Correct. Not so long ago past, there was the how many blanked ends do we start the game with, the banks in time, etc., etc.
Yeah.
Not seeing that here.
I haven't actually checked the stats. That would be an interesting one if somebody wants to pull numbers and see how many crooked numbers come up in the odd ends now.
That would be fascinating. I totally agree. Well, judging by the 3 sweepers, this isn't getting quite as far as they wanted. Bad? Good? Me. I actually don't know as I'd call that a bad shot.
Yeah, it's one of those ones where if I'm the skip, I can't tell you if that's a good one or not until I see what they do.
Good in that it's biting. Good in that it's kind of guarding the clutter in what's currently your shot rock. Yeah. Bad that yellow pair is still aimed at you.
And a nose hit on the yellow guard might kill all 3 greens. Like, it's close.
Oh, if I'm John, I'm almost thinking, man, I hope Joel starts smashing things, because to your point, this is that coin flip between force or 3.
You could get back to you could easily get back to the blank like that, yeah.
Now
it's
Joel
real close
the patience to just keep rattling things around. They certainly see both sides of the situation. So, if it's you,
he's got to move something now. It's a question of which one you move it. Like you the 2 yellows that again, that's a tougher shot. Wow, that's interesting. You saw that call, right? If he plays the wide guard, that takes away the only rock that John's got that he can do anything with. The other ones all are in better position for Joel than they are for John.
Yeah, the only one sort of saving John's posterior is that quarter buried green one.
The green in the 8-foot, he could slash onto the tight yellow, which would at least get rid of the double yellow angle. Well, now this, if you
playing on the ceiling,
this makes it more interesting. Yeah, that certainly changes the angles, but it's hard.
Lionel Richie.
It's hard to throw like that.
No, I think that slash green is the scariest shot, because it changes all the angles.
So I think they're just trying to take it away for now.
I wouldn't call that a silly choice.
No, they've still got 2 shots on the other side. They can get directly to the 2 yellows, and they've got the yellow guard straight back. So if you've got 2 shots and the other guy's only got 1, taking away the 1 is never bad. He can't take away both of yours.
This is like a textbook coaching end. One half of the sheet is being owned by one team. One half of the sheet is being owned by the other. What do? All right, John says, darn, you didn't fall for it. He's first to blink on the too much going on.
Well, yeah, he kind of has to. He can't take away both shots for Joel, and he doesn't really have anything for himself. So get rid of the guards so that no matter what Joel makes, now everything's not quite so cluttered.
I would say rule number 1 of having hammers, make sure you've given your... Ooh!
Bonus.
Well, wow.
The excuse me bonus.
That gets a accidental gold star. That was a great shot.
Yeah. That's where you lean over to Joel and say, sorry.
It's the you never give it all at the same time.
My feeling on those, and I've told guys before, I'm not going to give it back, but I'll say sorry because I hate when it happens the other way. But I'm not giving it back because it does still happen the other way once in a while.
Correct.
Yeah, that completely changed the complexion of this end in one shot. Now Joel's got to try to bail out a little bit.
Now, there is the one subtlety of the yellow way on the side. How many times have you seen that turn into a force rock?
Well, it could turn into a force rock, but suddenly the steel kind of looks like it's out of the question.
This is true. And just like that, 2 shots later, it's a very clean hose. John's kind of light on options. I assume he's thinking, all right, let's get this to be blankable. What's he thinking here?
Yeah, he's the weight call and what he's called here. He's not even contemplating the double. Just play the hit and roll over. You might get in front of it. Even if you don't, if you get close to it, it's pretty hard for Joel to roll back to spread the rocks out because he'd risk jamming it. So this is get it over in the neighborhood, and you still might have a chance at 2. At the very least, you should be able to get back into a blank situation here.
So this is Jake Horgan trying his darndest to just kind of get the rocks close together. Not a lot of weight on this.
Yeah, I'm not sure they're going to get the first one out.
I don't think they will. Beautiful corner freeze, but kind of forgot the primary objective, I think. That also kind of files in a bad bucket. Not sure that was good on any level.
No, and I mean, they were sweeping that to hold it straight, too. He needed to hit that thicker with that weight to kill the first one. Even then, I'm not sure he gets it out. That was awfully quiet. And they do throw theirs quiet, but yeah, you're right. They had to kill that. It's tough to get back to a blank now.
Yeah, I always sell it as throw the right weight for the shot, and it really seemed under. But anyways, that shot's in the past. Nice little me-you double by Retornaz team. So now John's going back to the, well, try our darndest to group our rocks. See if we can't make this in blank yet. So we'll see if Jacob decides to throw this a little bit harder. Certainly less ice. And this would be the flatter turn, so that makes sense. This certainly looks more in the typical 10 or control kind of range. And splat.
Yeah, needed to get some roll there and didn't.
But got the yellow one out. It's a better outcome than last time.
No, for sure, but just 4 stones left to come out. You've really only got 1 chance left to get them grouped. Even at that, like, you would like to get them grouped there and then try to play the double on John's first, then you're playing for the blank. If you need a double and roll out for the last one to get the blank, that's not very likely. So even trying to group them on the next one doesn't do much good. Now, to that end, if you don't think you've got a chance to play, I'm just playing devil's advocate now. I still think he's going to hit something, but if you don't think you got a chance to blank, would you ever think about playing some kind of corner freeze with John's first one? If you're going to get forced anyway, may as well let him try to score 2.
I certainly would, as long as it's not like totally in the forefoot. But yeah, why not? Practice your draw. You're going to have to do it again anyway. I suppose you could hit and hit, but no, I think I'm in your camp. I would probably play some kind of corner freeze.
I don't know if he will. A lot of guys won't. Like, he's still going to hit something, but you hit something, you're getting forced to 1. Your only chance to score 2 right now is to corner freeze.
And I always like keeping a bit of an edge on draw. Now, I realize these guys at this level should be able to draw with their eyes shut. But there's something to be said about I throw draws, you throw hits, and then come the 8th end, when we both have to throw a draw, I feel like I have an edge.
Well, he's throwing the hit and try to roll long across to the back 8 foot on the other side, thinking that, Joel hits it, maybe I've got some kind of a double for the blank. But I don't know what kind of double you're at. Like, he might have a double, a slash double for the blank. But are you playing that against the possibility of a steal? And I don't know if he will. So if you're playing this to set up a shot that you wouldn't play anyway, then maybe this isn't the shot to play. And this is a tough shot, even if didn't make it. Like, he stayed right there. So he's trying to roll to the back 8 foot on the other side. It's a tough shot to roll 8 foot and still end up a shot rock.
So now if I steal a little bit of your theory and say, hey, they want hammer and even ends, are you willing to try the more audacious double and give up one to say, I gave up one, but I have hammer and the even end now?
There's an argument to be made for that for sure, but you still want it to be some kind of makeable double. There's still the stats will show you're better off ahead than behind, so...
Yeah, I don't
you
like
won't give
giveaway
up
points.
Here's the thing. Personally, and this is one thing that I don't think the stats have done a good enough job at. You hear people talk about analytics. The thing about it is the sample size is too small. Here, at this particular rink, on this particular ice, with what we've seen of it so far, I would not want to give up the lead. On some of the surfaces that we see where they've got 5 and 6 feet of curl, when it's really hard, if a team decides they're going to play out all-out offense, it's really hard to stop them from scoring 2. If you want to stop them from scoring 2, you really have to play like it's a hard steal.
Sure.
I would be more inclined on ice like that to say, I'll give up a 1-point lead to keep the hammer because I feel pretty good about my chance of getting 2. It's going to be harder on this ice to decide we're going to play offense and we're going to be guaranteed we have a chance at 2 because it is a little tougher on this ice to get a rock buried so well that you can't get it out.
Well, I called you an esteemed expert earlier when I introduced you, and John is kind of proving my point because this is played out exactly as you called it. Hit, double, not worth it. We're drawing the 4 foot, trying to take our 1. And it looks pretty much right on par. We're just going to easy walk this in, drop it into the 4 foot, raise their hands, kick the rocks, and that's 1 on the board for Epping. We have a 3-2 match after 3. We'll be back in a minute.
Developed over a decade in collaboration with the finest ice makers this side of the Atlantic, the Pebblehead PB5 is nothing short of a triumph of sophistication and craftsmanship. Weighing less than half its lumbering copper predecessors, yet boasting tenfold their durability, the PB5 delivers perfect, consistent ice, time after time. The PB5 by pebbleheads.com, the apex of ice-making ingenuity for the roaring game of curling.
Live curling rocks. And this November, the best in the world are coming to Tahoe. Get your seats now at gsoctickets.com. But hurry, early bird pricing ends soon.
If you work the land, you just got to be a jack of all trades type. There's just too much to do. So if you got to be a welder or a farmer or a ditch digger, that's just who you are that day. Then tomorrow can be somebody else.
Ste.Marie Airport Development Corporation, owner and operator of the Ste.Marie, Ontario, Canada Airport, is proud to support the Sault Curlers Fall Classic and welcome all to beautiful Sault Ste. Marie. The Sault Ste. Marie Airport. Go there to get anywhere.
Welcome back, everybody. This is N number 4 between Retornaz and Epping here in the A qualifier. Sean, this is a triple knockout versus a pool play. Do you have a preference? Or do you ever have a fan of either?
I have different answers according to which hat I'm wearing. As a broadcaster and a fan, if you're watching even, the small pool round robins are exciting because every game matters so much. Like, you lose your first one and you're up against it. So we can start talking about playoff matchups or potential playoff implications for every game right from the start. the drama doesn't take any time to unfold because it's all laid out there for you. The downside of that as a player, though, is you start off with one bad game and your back's against the wall. And in some cases, those small 3-round robins end up like a double knockout. Well, nobody ever wanted to enter a bonspiel that was a double knockout. So those are always frustrating. The triple knockouts are nice because you know you're always still alive, but it takes some time for the drama to build because you lose this game, you still got 2 more lives. So for the fans, it's hard to get into it as early. But as a player, you know if you're still playing, you're still alive. You don't have to worry about anybody else. You don't have to look at over your shoulder at what's happening on the next sheet. If you're still playing, you got a chance in a triple knockout.
That is an excellent answer.
And then
that was my dread of the pool as a player, was the whole, any loss is a bad loss.
Well, the other side of it on the triple knockout, though, is there's a wait. You qualify out of the A. These 2 teams playing today. One of them's going to win, qualify out of the A, and then they play playoffs. We're Friday night. They don't play again until Sunday morning. That's a long wait, but you're waiting for those other teams to come back. Now, nobody's ever going to turn down the guaranteed spot in the playoffs, so you'll take it. But you will hear, if you ask every curler out there, they'll tell you, if we knew that we were guaranteed to win at that C qualifier and be in the playoffs, we'd take the C qualifier because you'd like to keep playing. You'd like to keep playing games, right? It's a longer road, but all of these athletes are geared to, once we're playing and on a roll, we just want to keep playing. We don't want a day and a half off.
Well, they train for 2 days, not 2 today, 1 tomorrow, see you in a couple.
Yeah.
So I completely agree. I didn't like gaps, but everybody's got their own perspective. Yeah. Outside of certain...
And the other thing is, nobody's going to guarantee you're going to win that C event qualifier. So nobody wants to have to get down to their last life. You want to make sure you got your spot in the playoffs, and then you'll deal with the rest as it comes.
Well, we got a little bit of a fireball coming down here. Apparently they're going with defense quick in this end. Kind of stuffed it, though. Hey. Oh. Ooh, that's probably nibbling.
Yeah, yeah, it probably is. I don't know how much that's worrying Joel. Again, he's got last rock and even ends here. He's probably looking to try to score here. He did throw up the corner guard early. He does want to deal with the middle and not have too many rocks in play. We were sort of talking about this a little bit in the commercial break, and this is one of those things, all this cat and mouse, I find this part of the end fascinating because John's not even thinking steal here. He's playing rocks in the middle because he has to keep Joel busy. Because if you keep Joel busy in the middle, then he doesn't get a chance to use the rocks on the corner. And you'll see that later in the game as well. The rocks in the middle aren't always about trying to steal. Sometimes it's about just trying to keep that other team from using everything on the corner.
With the rocks,
yeah.
And further to that point, how about his choice of turn on those shots?
Yeah, again, on this ice, because it's a little bit straighter, if you're going to come around, you come around on the in-turn side of you through there, because if you come around on the out-turn and you don't quite get it buried, you're leaving the chance that Joel can hit and roll behind his corner. You want to, you're thinking about those kinds of things all the time. And it probably matters more on ice like this. On ice that curls 5 feet, you can probably over-curl from either turn. Well, that's not there today. So
only one, and a little bit of a roll, so not a lot's changed here. We're trading colors, yellow guards, green draws. John's switching gears a little bit here.
Well, it changes a little bit because John's got to make a decision. Either if he's coming in this time, he's not guarding anything. So you got to guard shot rock to keep Joel from playing a hit and roll undercover. And then it'll be interesting because he's playing this guard tighter. So does Joel play the double on the greens, the one that's about to be thrown onto the one in the rings, or does he play the angle in on the yellow guard, try to stuff it on shot? And there's plan B. If you don't make the run through on the shot, you might get the double peel.
That was a lot of...
That must have had something underneath it.
That kind of had the unfortunate outcome moment going. So for as nice as that Fortune was a couple ends ago, this was the reverse, and Fortune has bit him in the butt. Open door a little bit for Retornaz.
I'd love to see a replay on that if we could, but it almost looked like whatever it grabbed so hard that it almost stopped the rock, and Jake almost slid over top of it and had to do what he could to try to get it loose, but couldn't get it loose. So unfortunate way to lose a stone.
And the fortunate piece of that is it was early enough in the end that there's recovery time.
Yeah, not a lot. I mean, here's the situation now. That green stone that's in the rings is more than half behind the tee line, and it's wide open. So Joel's going to, back to what we were talking about. There's a green biter on the outside edge. It's the even end. He wants to try to score. He's coming around the yellow guard. It's not even critical here that he be shot rock, but he does have to be buried.
And preferably in the house. There we are. Nice outcome. That's kind of setting up your chance at a 2. That's your theoretical second point. So now John's got some tough choices to make.
Well, tough to play the run back because there's 2 yellows that could jam into the...
You'd certainly be happier if you were running your own color back.
Yeah, well, even then there's the potential for a jam. Like as it comes back, if he hits it, so if we look at the overhead view, if he makes the run back onto the left-hand side of the stone in 12-foot, that stone in 12-foot comes towards shot rock. If he drives it towards the right-hand side of the one in the 12-foot, the run back stone is coming towards those 2 stones. Either one of them, it could jam into the yellow or into the green, and it's going to stay there for second shot.
So, what do you do?
So you have to draw. And this is not a comfortable feeling for John either, because you become a little bit too deep. You leave a double that's going to sit buried. If you stay too high, you're going to have a hard time getting this buried around. You're trying to bury around a stone in the 12-foot here on ice that you see isn't swinging as hard.
Did you ever pull a Jones and Christmas tree this a bit?
Well, you'd love to. I mean, that's what he's trying to play. If you can get this a little bit under the yellow, it's just that it's tough to do that on this ice.
Mm-hmm.
Boy, that's a really nice shot.
That's a really nice shot. Higher than the other green, mostly buried. Kind of forcing the run back agenda. Those are awfully straight line. It's quite possible just to go bang bang and stick it.
It is.
I don't think Retornaz would mind if the guard all together went away.
No, probably not.
You'd like your second yellow to stay in place somewhere, I suppose. Get rid of a green and keep 1 yellow in the house.
Yeah, I mean, ideally you're keeping both yellows in the house. You can't hit it quite straight, I don't think. So if you're making the shot to keep both yellows, I think you're rolling a little bit off line, so you're not going to stay buried, I don't think.
Kind of like that.
Yeah.
Well, there's interest for you. So 1 yellow is partially buried. The other yellow's acting like a short guard on the green.
Well, it is, but that's a short run too. So John's probably expecting that to be made. So he's trying to roll actually under the yellow guard off, just off center. It's easier to roll to the wide side sit 2, but he's expecting that short run back to be made. So he needs something close to the 4-foot.
So do you leave half this showing so that you might be able to use it back? Do you want to roll fully buried? I'm assuming you don't want to roll under the short yellow, because then it's like a double takeout.
If I could roll a sliver under the short yellow, I would. Like if you could split center on this, that'd be great. I just don't think you can get. I don't think there's any way to get that far over on this shot. I just don't see it finishing that hard.
It's slightly over buried, so I'm going to agree with you on that one.
I'm not sure that a nose hit here is bad. You stay right there.
That's what I mean. Like leave enough of your green showing that you could use it if he gets underneath everything.
Oh, exactly.
And that's not a double. That's a really steep shot.
I think he's playing that short run, and if he makes it, you want to have either the double. So if he's straight back, he might have the double on the yellows. If he's back and then rolls the yellow in behind cover, you should have something off that green stone.
This end has been a really phenomenal game of cat and mouse where each team is almost forced into a specific shot. So Joel's thinking, well, maybe I don't do the obvious on John and I just hit this green one that he just threw. Some value in that, sitting too high in the control zone. Ignore the shot rock for 1 turn. It's kind of a small gamble in its own sense.
Yeah, I don't like it.
It feels a bit like you're forcing yourself. You knows this. John noses it back, and then you have to make a run back for one.
Well, yes, and it's only for one still, and if you don't make it, it's 2 against you. Because
I roll.
Well, even if there is, what do you get out of it?
trying to keep
that's what
rocks.
I'm trying to figure out what he thinks he gets out of this.
I guess
John's never hitting the yellow in the 12-foot because that makes your path to the shot stone too easy. So I don't see what you think you're getting out of this.
I suppose there's the theoretical jam on that one. It did roll under a little bit. It's higher, so you get less curl past the guard. John could also just draw behind stuff. Make a non-doubleable moment and sit 2 or force something. That'd be a tricky shot.
Yeah, that's tough. Where are you drawing?
I was thinking
no out-turn draw.
You might be able to play an in-turn to the, I know where Epping's feet are, but that's a tricky draw. I'm not sure what you hit either.
Well, you can hit that Yellowstone again. I mean, you probably only third shot when you do it, but when he makes the run back, he's still only making it for 1.
Yep. Seems the most obvious, just hit this one back. And you just threw it. There's always something to be said about throw it again.
Well, and that it still goes back to what I said. I'm not sure what Joel thought he was getting out of that, because you're just going to exchange stones here, and now for him to throw that run back on his last one, he's throwing it against a possible steal of 2. It makes more sense to throw it on your first one. And if you don't make it, at least you should roll out of the way and you leave yourself a shot for the second one.
Yep.
It's all or nothing now. Now watch.
They're really hammering this one.
He's out there early. Now they're getting
Seems a
some
little heavier than his first, but he's close.
They're okay.
12. So there you go. That's a nice managed board weight. So to your point, Joel's kind of forced to 1 for lack of.
Well, and it's not an easy one.
No, he's
like they're looking at which is
back,
second. It
raising
doesn't
it up.
matter if you're running it back. It doesn't matter. You don't have a good path for a draw on either side.
That green is definitely not open for a double.
Might be a slash double, but you're losing the shooter then. Like the third is looking at it. You could play it. It's tough. It's debatable whether you can see thin enough to buy the corner guard.
Maybe if this is the 8th end, you play to catch a 1/4 inch of the inside of the top green and just slash redirect in, but that would be not what you would do in the 4th end. Well, to your point, he's going to do the, call it 5-foot run back. Try to earn his 1 the tricky way. Judging by the ice, things are holding up. He's been putting broom right on edge of rock. Let's see what he chooses. He's been throwing kind of that solid control.
This is going to be quiet. And this is a scary one because you're a fraction of an inch off and it's a steal of 2.
This is not a lot of weight. They're sweeping the hell out of it. Oh, but now we're switching over, go for some curl, and we got thunk. Like there was nothing to it. That's 1 back for Retornaz. So we went 2, then 2, then 1, then 1. So we're tied up 3 after 4. We'll be back after a few minutes from our sponsors.
For over 20 years, the Sandra Schmirler Foundation has granted more than $9 million to hospitals across Canada for life-saving equipment for premature and critically ill babies. In the past 4 years alone, $4 million has been granted thanks to the curling community's incredible generosity. The need continues year-round, and with your help, we can ensure every baby has the chance to grow up and become a champion, just like Sandra.
Imagine being able to stream every curling game from every sheet from any event, be it your Wednesday league game, bonspiel, or corporate event. Curling Stadium offers an all-inclusive streaming solution featuring high-quality cameras, ease of use, great reliability, and minimal installation. Offering your sponsors customizable ad space on your streamed curling games and being able to sell video packages to your corporate events for increased revenue. With Curling Stadium, you can stream to any device, be it your mobile phone, tablet, or computer. Push the feed to your desired platform, be it Facebook, YouTube, or any other social media. Curling Stadium is simply the way forward. Where it's commonplace in other sports to televise every game, we want to do the same. Curling is a global sport, and it's time it gets the coverage it needs. Make your curling club the next Curling Stadium.
Welcome to the RockShop.net, the official store for the Grand Slam of curling. Whether you're looking for the best hats, stylish clothing, fun toys, or unique accessories, the Rock Shop has it all. Shop online anytime at therockshop.net for exclusive Grand Slam of curling gear, or come see us in person at your next event. TheRockShop.net, where fans find their favorite curling gear.
Welcome back, everybody. We've had a short break after 4 ends. It's 3-3 here between Retornaz and Epping. We take a quick peek at other sheets, which everybody can follow on Curl Zone or other streams being brought to you on Curling Stadium. We've got Matt Dunstone and Daniel Casper trading twos over sheet A. Dunstone has a temporary 4-2 lead. Casper has hammer. On sheet E, we have Alex Champ with a 1-point lead over Sandy McEwen. McEwen has hammer. And then on sheet B, we have Dustin Kaltoff of Saskatchewan with a 3-2 lead, banking on a quick steal in the second end. So, Sean, after the very short fourth end break, what's your advice to the two teams?
Well, far be it for me to tell anybody to change anything, but really both of them, what they're doing has been, for the most part, working. Epping has not wanted to take too many. We've seen the same setup 3 ends in a row in the audience. They've thrown the center guard, come around it. The first end they were a little deep. Here they've got the setup again in front of the tee line. He's happy to try to blank this end if not. And you saw Retornaz has thrown corner guards both times, and for the most part had chances to get his deuces. Not as much last end, although I think if he plays, if he looks back at this game after it's over, the shot that he played with his last one to get 1, if he plays that on his first one, he's probably still got a chance for 2. So it's neither team's had anything go their way right yet so that they could start to pull away, but they've had their opportunities, so I don't think it changed too much. Now it will be interesting to see if we get an odd end blank here somewhere along the line. Does that change how both teams are playing when the odd even end situation has switched around?
Well, we've been doing Battle of Textbook. First end, bunch of rocks down the middle, stacks up and such, edge to John. Then the third end, it was kind of the other way around. So now this one, early edge to who?
It did look like 2 ends ago we were going to have a chance at a blank, and then they underthrew that one hit that hit it right, didn't get it out, and then the house was split. So just because there's going to be 6 rocks in play after this one stops doesn't mean we're headed towards anything necessarily going on the board. There was definitely a chance for a blank 2 ends ago.
Yeah, this doesn't have the makings of an early blank, but that can always change quickly. Ooh, just a little kiss there. I probably would have preferred to tuck just a corner under the yellow, make the run back a non-option. They did manage to get it in the way enough that the yellow raise doesn't go to the greens. So Dwell's kind of forced to keep stacking them in, maybe jiggle some angles.
Yeah, actually that little rub helped Epping more than Retornaz, because the green can still be run into the 2 yellows. The yellow can't really be run into the 2 greens.
Yeah, there's just that little tiny tuck under as it was coming to a halt, which was very nice. shift of an angle. So, option list.
Well, they looked at coming in on top of their own. They looked at basically the double peel, which I don't think they want to do because, I mean, they were talking about trying to run the yellow into the green, spill the yellow into the house, and leave the shooter there somewhere. But I think they're rolling off to the corner if they do that. They're going to guard the greenstone. That greenstone that just came to rest, it's available to be run into the two yellows in the house. That's the danger stone right now for the Retornaz team.
You stole the words out of my mouth. That's the scary rock right now.
And they can't do much around the other side to really help themselves out, so they got to take it away for now.
And as much as you don't entirely love throwing guards too often and too many, it seems to be the obvious way to take away that shot. Perhaps a little more curl than they were after, but it did take away the obvious raise. John clearly thinks it was done well enough because he's now saying smash it.
Yeah, I thought he might smash it the other way. It's actually, when it curled that far, he's given him the angle. If he wanted to make a pass at it, you could play the yellow over the top of the green and try to smash it into the two yellows in the house. He's going to try to play the triple peel here, though.
Well,
yellow over the top of the yellow, and all three guards should fly.
Let's see what Jacob has. He's not throwing too much weight. Moving rocks, but not throwing cannonballs down the sheet. Nice triple peel, basically. Roll the guard out of the way. Make the play a little simpler. Thinking about your, maybe this is an odd end blank. Got a corner guard out of the deal. Not such a bad outcome.
Yeah.
So does Joel take the path of caution or the path of aggression?
I'm not really seeing an aggressive path there. you're in some trouble here. He's going to play the double on the greens. The question is, can he save all three yellows? He's thinking that they can make it and move the one yellow out to the wide corner. If they could do that, it's great because it still keeps the force alive. But I have a feeling if he makes the two greens go away, he's losing one yellow as well. He didn't make the greens go away, though.
And kicked the green under the corner guard, where John would have been thinking, I should draw one over here. So I was actually going to say, my fear is you cluster your rocks, and maybe he goes, I'll draw under the corner guard because I can just smash yours out of the forefoot. They kind of did that for him.
Yeah, he can't really smash them, though, because I think the top one's going into the side green. So he's looking to hit half the yellow. It'll kill the back two yellows, and then have a shooter roll over there and sit two behind the corner guard.
That'd be a hell of an outcome. Two under the corner guard and one yellow left in the top, what would that be, top 8?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would take that any day. That's kind of two outcomes in one throw.
Well, yeah, you wouldn't even be too worried about the run back because that corner guard's up so high that from the overhead shot, it wasn't even in the picture. That's long enough that, yeah, you don't worry about that one.
And then even if he does make it, it's just fueling your, hey, let's blank the end theory.
Yeah, true.
It's kind of all wins in the list of options for John right now. Really, as long as they don't stub their own toe, they're feeling pretty good this end. All right, so we're looking for about a half rock on the front, cute little double and long roll. We're going for some curl. One. Ooh, slow on the roll, slow on. Ooh, that's unfortunate. Did get the double. Two yellows put in the corner. Can never complain about that. But man, you would have loved to have kept that green one in the house.
Yeah, because it would have been up a little higher too. This one is close enough to the tee line that even if you get just a corner freeze, you're probably sitting two.
Such a fascinating game in terms of little misses having such epic swings in the outcome of an end. Now all of a sudden you're thinking, ooh, sugar, this might be a force.
Trying to move that rock with this ice. That looks really tough.
Yeah, you're looking to push it back a few inches at the least, just to make sure that it's third. Nice, cute little backline kind of weight. A lot of air on the guard. Walking it over. Well, they killed the green. Killing the green was good.
If you're going to play that, you had to kill the green, because if you had to play it for 2, there's a double on the yellows now. The green being out, there's no shot for 2, so he's going to play the hit and roll in front. There's really no risk here for John. He can play a little bit aggressive now because, you've always got the middle to score. If Joel ever has to blast things, you might get back to a blank. If you can make the good freeze right on the corner with the hit and roll, 2's not out of the question yet.
Back and forth. But yeah, you're right. It's a little high for the double. So just kind of roll into the meat of that big end. Make the hit back a little scarier. Now they've kind of fought the roll on these kinds of shots, so let's see if they've learned. They haven't done much on the sweep. Well, that's kind of a B+. You're not shot, but you're set. You're sitting in a great spot.
Yeah, it probably takes the blank out of the equation, but that's a rock Joel can't do anything with. So they have to be real careful.
How easy might it be to set the crosshouse double, right?
Well, yeah, and there's 2 ways to do it. I mean, if your shooter's too high, you might leave the double yellow come off the yellow that you're about to throw into the side of the yellow. If you come a little deeper, he can play off the green.
And that green's going nowhere.
Yeah, the green's going nowhere. So, it's as much as they look straight across, or where you're trying to put it is straight across, it's tough. You're a little too high. He leaves the yellow double. You're a little too deep. You can come off the green and make the double on the yellow. It's not as simple as when there's only one rock and you're just trying to split the house. It really changes. They're going to call timeout and talk about this. It's tough not to leave one double or the other here.
So, kind of an intriguing time for a timeout. That would imply that he's thinking there's another choice.
Well, and I'm not sure there is, but it's. I mean, I guess you could guard it. I don't like that. You could.
Do you draw underneath of it? Do you corner freeze it back? Do you jiggle them a little bit? Could you play back 4 and pop that yellow back and stay corner frozen?
You're flirting with leaving him a double. I think they've got the right call. It's just it's got to be very precise. You're not actually trying to be even with the yellow or even with the green. You're actually kind of trying to be split the 2 of them, right?
Yep,
so that
correct.
It's too flat to make either one of the doubles, and you still got to be well out there to the edge of the 8-foot without being into the 12, because then you're not second shot anymore.
Coach Fry out there seems quite emphatic about his opinion. Very animated with his hands. Looks like they're talking about where rocks are going to hit and roll to.
Yeah.
My first inclination was the same as yours. About a rock and a half above the tee line, opposite 8-foot. But to your point, you have a circle about the size of a garbage can to put it in.
Yeah, it's not as much area as you'd normally expect to have when you're throwing to split house like that, because there's 2 ways to make the double. And so if you're a little too high, you leave it one way. If you're a little too deep, you leave it the other way. It really cuts to. Now he's coming back towards center somehow. I don't know what he's doing now. Not sure
This is one of those moments where you just kind of hold your breath and go, they got to stop moving first.
I'm not sure the third knows what he's doing either. They had a timeout, they talked about it, and they don't know what they're doing. Okay.
Good chance.
Did
Good
see
opportunity
one of the
to look at the clock. I wonder what their time's looking like.
Did see one of the brushers tap the ice, but he tapped at the back. I think they're going to the back 8, but I don't like that.
That seems like a...
It just forces John to play off the green and try to roll across. It's given him a couple of ways to do it.
Forcing him is actually the way to phrase that. Like, John's really going to have little alternative than take a wing at it almost first. Because what's the harm? You miss it, you're still sitting at being forced.
You got to be second shot. I don't think he's got it there.
One of those moments, and this is where me as a coach always says, just because I think there's a better choice, should I interrupt them? And was what they were going to do good enough? This is a question I ask myself every time as a coach. Was their choice good? Ooh, there you go. Good call out on the clocks. Good job back there in the production office. Kaylee is doing a great job.
Yeah, and they started with, if somebody's at the host facility, maybe they'll know the exact time that they started with because we didn't see it. But typically in an 8-end game in playdowns, you'll start with 30 minutes. I know they started with more than that because we saw the clocks in the first end and they had more than that. So you're thinking 4 minutes an end. Well, we're going to have 3 ends left after this one. And
use their timeout.
Yeah. Retornaz is already under 12 minutes and he's still got another rock to throw. So.
Yeah, so he's in the ballpark of, call it 3.5 minutes an end.
Yeah, he's going to have to rush a little bit.
So why
John's first thought here was interesting. Well, because his first thought here was to just hit this one and stay right there. And now how does Joel get another one in? And he's always got that other shot for 2. Joel probably has to hit this stone. So you hit this right on the nose. Joel can't really ignore it because he doesn't want to give you 3. He hits it on, there's nowhere for him to roll. And then you've got the easy shot for the deuce on the side. If you play the shot on the side,
you could roll under it, could you not?
Yeah, maybe, but I don't know that you play that. You play the shot on the green, yellow right now. It's hard not to leave a double back.
Fair.
So you play this yellow. Joel can't leave you a shot for 3, so he's not going to draw. At least that's what they're banking on.
Yep.
And when he hits this, he can't take that shot away for 2.
I'm going to agree with you because in the 5th end, you're not inclined to take a high risk to cut out 1 point. Or later in the end, maybe he's going to take a bigger risk. This is also not a lot of weight for what he's.
Yeah, it didn't really matter. He didn't. The roll is nice. It's not essential. I think I'd have preferred not to roll.
I would have stayed where it was, sure.
Now Joel's going to try to roll towards the other green, I think, and at least try to make the other shot difficult. They're talking about drawing. That would take some guts.
There are safe places you can draw.
There are. You have to make it. He didn't make the last one.
Not by a long shot. So there you go. We're now going to be roughly 10 minutes by the time he's done. I'll call it 10 and a half. That's not a lot for 3 more ends. So he's looking to put this kind of on roughly the AI in that back MaitlandFord.com to make it really steep for any kind of a double.
Yeah.
And then John's going to be more or less forced to go, okay, fine, I'll take my 1. Now, to your point, he's got to be a little bit more zippy on this draw. And not heavy nor light. He still has a...
Yeah, there's still chances that he could leave a double for, and now it'd be for 3. So he's got to be real careful where they put this.
Well, sweepers on it, but not too assertive on their sweep. That means it's got to be close. Nice aggressive clean, as they call it. Now they're working it for a little bit of depth and curl.
This is not going to be deep enough.
This is looking good.
He's guarding it now. Well, actually, by stopping where it did, he probably doesn't leave him a shot for 3, but it's a nose hit on the yellow for 2. I don't think he can roll in. Can you get it across the top?
I was just going to say, what happens if you do it kind of a slash with, maybe an 11? 12?
Maybe.
10? Nah, 10 would probably be too hard to keep your shooter. But yeah, technically it's there.
It's not all that risky because as long as you're over the top of the first green one, the 2 greens are going to count for sure.
So now this ice is either velocity straight back or light to get some curl. They didn't really indicate which way they're preferring on this.
Well, and even if he's trying it straight back with some speed, like it's not quite straight back, you could get away with 7/8, and with some speed, maybe he thinks he can still bite the top of the rings.
Sure,
it's possible.
Well, he's not throwing it light. So we're going to go with option B there, which is the double and hopefully roll on. Bang, bang. There's the roll on. Where's it going? Where's it going? What a great shot. That's a big 3 on the board for Team Epping. That brings the score up to 6-3 after 5 ends. We'll see what the response is for Retornaz in a few minutes.
If you work the land, you just got to be a jack of all trades type. There's just too much to do. So if you got to be a welder, or a farmer, or a ditch digger, that's just who you are that day. Then tomorrow, you can be somebody else.
Hey Ben, what's the Aztec Safety online e-learning website again?
Yeah, that would be aztecsafety.com.
Fire extinguisher and firefighting, we'll send that one to Paul.
Ah, now here's a course I should probably take. Conflict resolution.
Power line safety. Yeah, I thought it might help me with my line calls. Did you know this Aztec website has over 100 safety courses?
Jeez. Aztec Safety online course. Ground disturbance. Could have used that a few seconds ago.
Live curling rocks. And this November, the best in the world are coming to Tahoe. Get your seats now at gsoctickets.com. But hurry, early bird pricing ends soon.
Welcome back, curling fans. This is end number 6 of the A qualifier at the Henderson Medal Fall Classic, brought to you by Kioti Tractors of Ontario. Well, Sean, the 5th end played out a little bit funny. A big end and a 3 for Epping. Who changes what thoughts? What do you do?
Well, you're down to 3 ends left to play. You got the hammer and the even ends if your Retornaz. He's thinking multiple score here, so you had to expect, and here he is calling for it, you had to expect him to throw the 2 corners. John Epping with a 3-point lead isn't interested in any more center guards. He's throwing the rocks into the rings because, and still grouping them at the center because, again, back to that cat and mouse we talked about. You know that at some point, Joel's going to have to deal with those rocks in the middle. Well, he deals with the rocks in the middle. You're going to deal with the rocks in the corner. And it's back to cat and mouse. Like, you put those rocks up to start the end the way you want it. You know your opposition, both teams, you know your opposition is going to try to deal with them later on.
And to your point, give 2, take 1, give 2 doesn't actually work out all that well for Retornaz, so
it'll get him into an extra end. Yeah. I mean, it's the nice thing about the 5 rock free guard zone is there's always opportunities to score 3. Now, having said that, that was supposed to be a guard, and it's in the 8-foot, so there's a chance to make a play on it. This is not easy on this ice, but it's available. You can see a piece.
This kind of feels like the mixed doubles reverse tick. You nudge the first one over, or you hit the one behind it. Both is a good outcome. This is looking good. Thunk. One last yellow in the house. At the same time, yeah, one less yellow. Still using the corner to play with, but nothing you can do about it yet.
And you're out of the free guard zone now, so it's with only one guard to work with. It's really hard to score 3 now. We talked about how threes happen.
Would you ever play guards on opposite sides to just?
Oh, you could. You could. Teams do it all the time. But you're still waiting for. Now you need a miss to have a chance at 3, whereas the 5 rock free guard zone. If you make your first 2 guards, it's like under the old rules, having your 2 misses. You've got 2 guards to work with, and they did get the second one up. So you bury this perfectly. John's just going to go up and rip the corner guard.
Absolutely. This one's also skating a bit on them. It's a bit of a weird kind of scenario. Joel comes up light on his 2 draws, and then suddenly Mattia and Sebastiano are struggling to get guards out of theirs. Kind of seems like they've lost draw weight. Anyways, to your point, now they just peel guard, and they'd be happy as a clam to just force 1.
Yeah, so we're still on second stones. Joel will likely throw the guard up at least one more time, but going back to what I said, you throw those rocks in the middle knowing that at some point in time Joel has to deal with them. Joel can't just guard this forever because that's not the easiest double sitting in the middle. So he's going to have to make a play in the house before his last one. He'll guard for now. They'll peel it again. He'll probably guard 1 more at least.
Yeah, the age-old question.
But that's the question because you have to deal with one of those 2 stones in the middle at some point in time. How many is too many guards?
Is there a freeze opportunity sitting in that pile?
There would be.
Kind of feels like you could play a slightly inside freeze on the deep green.
But if you do that, there's still going to be the shot to come off the yellow in the 8-foot and come across and break up that freeze.
To your point, they're well into the land of needing a miss to even get a 2 at this point.
Yeah.
And I hate to say it, but wide open hits are hard ones to bank on for a miss.
Well, yeah, and I guess I should back that up. That they could generate an easy enough deuce. You play the double on the greens and roll to the wide side. Your rocks will be well spread out. Now, I mean, that's no double and roll is gimme. You still got to make it.
Well said. But is there value in even just hitting and rolling irregardless of the double?
There is, but it probably would have needed to be on this shot.
That's what I was thinking as well. That ship has sailed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna roll with that one. If I'm Retornaz, I'm kind of thinking 3's not on the options anymore. So how do we lock in a 2? Because even a blank isn't particularly advantageous. Because a blank, you need to take 3 of them steal and. Well, going for yet another peel in I like the simple end John strategy. Bang! Rock gone. Nicely done, Mr. Horgan. So what's our option list here?
Well, it's a freeze on the shot stone, I think. He's talking about the tap on the other one. I don't love that. You can tap it to a pocket, but I'm not sure you don't leave the flat double on the yellows when you do that.
Yeah, it's a bit of a junior theorem. Push the rocks behind the tee line to maximize your next shots.
Well, and that part of it's fine. It's just the question is, can John then make the double on the yellows? The thing is, if you freeze to the shot rock, the green at the top of the floor kind of protects your shooter. You can't come off the side of that yellow one and kick both yellows out.
Mm-hmm.
If you give him a shot for the double, you're not even getting 2.
This is fair. It's also flat enough that you might milk a miss out of it, but it still feels like you're just walking towards a 2 because they're hitting yellow no matter what.
Yeah, he might not make the double, but he's not missing the rock altogether. So
if you weld this one onto that back green, is John hitting the open one, or is he going into the 4-foot?
No, he's hitting the open one and coming into it, trying to break your freeze. But at least then he's got you're forcing him to play a more complicated shot.
Certainly. So this is looking for basically dead froze. Little bump ain't gonna kill you. Gotta be at least nose, slightly inside nose would be ideal.
Did they decide they were going towards the shot one? I'm still not sure that they weren't playing the second shot rock to move it.
I was under the impression they were playing the low one, just nose-ish.
They talked so much about the other one, I thought that's what they were going with. Yeah, they are. You're right.
Yeah.
And this is, like I said, I think this is the better call because I don't think there's any way you come off the open yellow and kill both.
Well, you couldn't have walked it down any better in terms of a freeze. No. Now here's your point. John's going, smash, roll, jiggle, jiggle. John's no stranger to throwing weight on hits, so this should come down with a little bit of cruise missile.
Yeah, there's just a little discussion there. Jake was wondering, and you could play it the way Jake looked at, play off the yellow, come into the green, move it out of the way, then leave the green, yellow, green in the middle all lined up. Not a bad result if you make it. I'd still like to come onto that other yellow. You don't need to move it very far. Just break up the existing, break the freeze and leave an angle where you can blast the yellow out on the next one. Then you wait and see what Joel does. You know, he's going to move something too, because he's got to have a way to get two.
Yeah. I can see the value of a nose hit and just kind of stick it there, but not where I would have went. So this is a nice controlled weight. Looking for the long roll and the little jiggle. All right, into the pile. I can see ways for 2. Don't see a way for 3. Do you see a way for 3?
For green, maybe.
Great answer.
I'm not even seeing a lot of ways for 2 for yellow right now. He's got to move something here, but how do you do this and not leave a double?
The only thing I'm seeing is hit and roll over to our right on the overhead to make it as flat as possible, because you'll lose the deeper 2 greens. You leave the one green in front of the yellow, and the other yellow just kind of scoots out of the way and hope that it counts.
Yeah, rolling that way, I could see you leaving a doubly on the yellows pretty easy.
Yeah, you'd have to get it as far over as you can and as flat as you can, and then just hope he misreads the ice.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be that flat. I don't see them playing that.
Do you consider just playing enough weight to push that green so your yellow's shot, but then it's something you can pick out? If you leave it kind of corner frozen on the front green and pop it back.
What do you get if you... I'm not sure that what he's playing is get him anything. What do you get if you just nose hit the third shot rock?
Nose hit third shot rock, then you lose a green and a green, the other yellow...
You're only going to lose third shot, you're only going to lose one green. It's the one on the left by itself.
Oh, I see what you're saying. The one
but I don't think you leave
under
it
the
anyway.
Well, we have... Well, let's see. Yellow doubles there.
He's
not just hit the wide open one.
Hit the open one and try to roll the spot where he doesn't leave a double on the greens.
And even if you give up 2, you're not going to sweat too many bullets.
Nope, true.
Up 1 with hammer, 2 ends to go. Now, to your point, if you roll just past that pair, call it nibbling the center line on the left side of the center line, then that's a pretty tricky shot for 2.
I don't even think there is a shot for 2. Yeah, I don't even know if it's there. If you roll full 8 foot on the other side, just as long as your second shot. Well, yeah, to that, it doesn't even have to necessarily be second. You roll full 8 foot across the house.
Just as long as the shooter isn't going to be second.
Yeah.
All right, so here's John playing a bit of an out turn. Hit and roll anywhere to the left side of center line, so that Joel really doesn't have much choices. They're working it for a curl.
Well, that's a pretty makeable double.
Yeah, that kind of seems like a friendly outcome for Joel.
He's got to throw it hard. Like, I think he's got to come off the one that was just thrown first, which means he's coming into the back end of the second one. He thinks he can make it the other way. It's thin. He can't see very much.
He's got maybe an inch. If you get that inch, it's a dead gimme double. If you hit the deep one first with like 7/8 off nose, I don't know how lively the house and rocks are, but it's certainly makeable as well.
It's makeable, and he doesn't have to get it all the way out. He's just got to get it to the edge of the 8 foot. He's only got to move it 4 feet. It doesn't look.
I'm kind of leaning towards you hit the bottom one first, no matter what. But getting a 1 here is no bueno. That is not a good outcome. You kind of need 2 here, so whichever version you like. Looks like they're going for catch that small inch first.
Well, I think they indicated going the other way, but this looks already like it's not enough ice.
What's his setback look like? Yeah, a little pop. Yeah, they're going bottom one first, I think. Well, I don't know.
I think
how about right through the middle?
Oh my goodness.
Oh! I assume they were going for the inside green first and had the most wild misfortune. So that's a steal of 2 for John, makes it an 8-3, and that's shakes. So they're saying, you know what, good luck. You've qualified, we're going to keep playing and go for the next qualifier. Anyways, on behalf of myself, Gord, and Sean, thank you very much for joining us. And I certainly encourage you to click like, love, subscribe, etc., and jump over to the game with Dunstone and catch the end of that one. Otherwise, we'll see you tomorrow.
You work the land, you just got to be a jack of all trades type. There's just too much to do. So if you got to be a welder, or a farmer, or a ditch digger, that's just who you are that day. Then tomorrow, you can be somebody else.